In any carriage on the train, they usually use a separate carriages for women. The trains have no doors, so passengers have to be careful not to fall out.
This is yours. You might have to show your ticket.
His ticket cost 2 rupees, which is about 4 pence. Babu travelled to Goregaon in North Bombay and caught the train to Dockyard Road. But they will leave the city by ferry because the city is almost completely surrounded by water. They've already been travelling for over an hour. Bombay is a very big city.
Where are the others?
Travelling is thirsty work because the weather is very sticky and hot. On average, the temperature in Bombay is 20 degrees hotter than in Britain. It's Babu's very first boat trip.
Look at those birds. They're swimming.
Are those ducks?
Like ducks. And look at those tiny little boats.
Finally, the ferry arrives at Rewas. The jetty is built over wide mud flats where these shrubs called mangroves grow. They've travelled for 2 hours across the bay to Rewas. They have another hour and a half to go by road to the village of Bilji, where their cousin Palu lives. She's been on the lookout for them all day.
I want to show them the farm, our school, and Granny's house in the village.
They are now travelling by a sitara, a large kind of rickshaw which takes a lot of different people who are all travelling in the same direction. Tina's been here before, but this is Babu's first trip to Bilji. It's polite to take your shoes off so you don't walk dirt into the house.
Namaste, Kaka. Namaste, Kaki.
Palu lives in a 2-room house, very like Babu's.
Namaste, Kaki.
Palu's mother offers everyone a drink when they arrive. Palu's dad is called Ullas.
Do you go to an English language school or a Marathi one?
A Marathi school.
I go to a Marathi school too.
There will be plenty of time to get to know each other. But it's late, so it'll be tomorrow before they can go and explore. Life in the countryside is different from life in town.
In the village, the air is clean. There are very few cars and very little noise.
Almost everyone round here makes a living from the land, including Palu's family. They usually grow rice in this field, but it's too hot and dry to grow anything in this season. In a couple of months, the monsoon will start, when it rains every day. That's when they will plant new crops. The shepherds here make a living by selling their sheep for people to eat.
Why are these sheep in your fields, Palu? That's so they leave their dung on them to fertilize them.
The shepherds get paid for camping here. They come for a month every year, then move on somewhere else.
Look how small mine is. It's sweet.
These people make a living from catching fish. They keep some for themselves and will sell the rest. You might think life hasn't changed here much for centuries, but the village well is only 10 years old. Women had to walk for 14 minutes to fetch drinking water before, and further to do the laundry.
Do people drink this water?
Yes, they drink it and they use it for other things too.
Where are we going now?
To Grandma's place.
They still don't have big shops here like you find in the centre of Bombay, but they do have small shops that sell everything from eggs to soap. This one is owned by Palu's granny. She has not only batteries, but bubble gum too. The grannies remember how tough life used to be.
There was no electricity until after we left the village. It was only 11, 12 years ago that you got electric light.
Maybe less. There were no lights anywhere, not even in houses. The children are quite lucky now. We did not have these luxuries.
Electricity has improved their life enormously. Babu's aunts don't have to grind spices and vegetable pastes by hands anymore. They have blenders. And there is a fridge, very useful in this heat. And popsicles are very welcome too. These days, a regular bus service goes past the village every half hour. But lots of people still use bullock carts like they have for thousands of years. And every cart needs wheels. These are made of wood. To stop these wearing out quickly, they need metal rims. But the rims must be tight enough not to slip off, so they are made smaller than the wheel. Coconut husks get very hot when they are burnt. As the metal heats up, it expands, so the rim is now just a little bit bigger than the wheel. They have to work very fast. As the rim cools, it shrinks to fit the wheel, but it's hot enough to set fire to the wood. Now it's ready to be fitted to a cart. In Europe, horses used to be used for heavy work, but in India they've been using bullocks instead for hundreds of years. Babu's come to the bullock cart races with his dad. But only men and boys get to enjoy the event. The girls have to stay behind in the village. The girls are getting a treat too. Granny's telling them the tale of the birds who worked together.
Once upon a time, a long way away from here, there stood a lofty banyan tree, and its branches provided a home for many birds, amongst them the wily old crow. One day he was about to set off to the city to look for food when he saw a hunter approaching. He looked very fierce, and he carried a net and a stick, so the crow guessed he was out to snare birds for the pot. The crow watched with alarm as the hunter laid out his net and scattered grain over it before going to hide out of sight. Just then, a flock of doves caught sight of the grain and swooped down. "It's a trap! It's a trap!" called the crow. But cry as he might, the greedy doves ignored him and set about eating the food. Once the flock had settled, the hunter leapt from behind a rock and pulled his net over them, trapping every last dove. He raised his club over his head to kill them, but Shimmerbreast, the dove king, kept his cool. "Fear not, friends," he said. "Flap your wings in time with me, and we shall be able to fly away carrying the net with us. But if anyone beats his wings out of step with the rest, we are all lost. All together now. Up, down, up, down. The doves took hold of the net in their beaks and flapped their wings in time with each other. They soared high up into the sky, far above the ground.